Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Alissa, when we're both ghosts, do you know why you're going to be sad?
No, I don't. Why?
Because we'll just be a couple of nobodies. Also, when we're ghosts, you won't be allowed in that one part of the house. Do you know what part of the house that'll be?
No, I don't, Brett.
The living room. But don't worry. We can still go to the Bahamas or maybe Malibu. Or what about Budapest?
Oh my God.
I knew you were going to love it.
These are making me sad.
Once I told a really bad joke about ghosts, and it still haunts me to this day.
Well,
I could go on
that was
for
today.
The whole hour.
That was just now.
Today.
It was just moments before.
It'll just haunt me forever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. You can stop cringing deeply now.
That first one kind of fucked me up. Nobodies. Like, we are nobodies. We will be nobodies anymore.
No,
God,
just
Britt,
literally
hard.
No bodies. We will have no bodies.
Hey, Britt, do we just tell very clever, haunting ghost jokes on this podcast?
I mean, hopefully every episode. But no, we tell true tales of the strange, unusual, and paranormal.
Heck yeah, we do.
What do you got today?
I have a glitch in the Matrix, and if we have time, maybe a little something else.
Ooh, I love something else's. I got a whole bucket of just ghosts. That's why I was telling those sweet, hot ghost jokes, because I got a lot of ghosties.
It all makes sense now. You know what? I'm really laughing hard on the inside now about those jokes you just told me now. I need a little more context. I think I do think that my story involves ghosts.
Ooh,
one of mine, at least.
A little bit of a theme element there.
Yeah, heck yeah. Hey, I want you to start us off today, though. Is that okay?
Perfect. I think I have more stories than you, so absolutely, that's great.
Yeah.
This story comes from Melissa. Hi. So this isn't my story. It's my mom's, and it's something else. Growing up, my mom had a group of friends who would have sleepovers. One night when they were around 11-ish, her and her friends had a sleepover at her friend Diane's apartment building, where her dad was the super. The top floor was rented by a woman named Iris, who was a model, so she traveled a lot. When she would leave, she would let Diane and her friends sleep in her apartment and play with her clothes. According to my mom, Iris was so great. So one night, Iris is away, and my mom and her friends all have a fun night playing with Iris's clothes and makeup, and they all went to bed. There were 4 girls total, and they especially loved her bed because it was this big heart-shaped bed. Oh my God, Iris is amazing. They turned on a small nightlight and went to sleep. My mom woke up in the middle of the night because she felt someone was in the apartment. She said she looked to the end of the bed and saw a woman staring at her. The rest of the girls were fast asleep. The woman was just standing there. She said she looked like a woman from Victorian times. She didn't think it was Iris, but she just wasn't sure. Maybe Iris came back early and was dressed in a costume for some reason. So she quietly wakes up Diane. I imagine she's like poking her in her side. Psst, psst. Diane, psst, Diane, do you see the lady at the foot of the bed? And Diane wakes up and says, yes. And my mom said, is it Iris? And Diane said, no. And my mom said, but you see her. And Diane said, yes, I do. So my mom said, okay, then what is she wearing? And Diane said, a ball gown. She looks like a woman from the Victorian era. And my mom said, okay, so what is she holding? And all of this is happening in whispers, which is why I'm whispering. While the woman is standing there at the end of the bed, then Diane says, she's holding the Bible. And my mom says, oh my God, you do see her too? Then they both go quiet and just stare at her. And she stares back at them and turns around slowly and walks through the wall. After they saw her walk through the wall, my mom and Diane began screaming, which woke up all the rest of the friends, who then woke up and didn't even believe them. They rushed back down to Diane's apartment and told her dad the story. He decided to look up the history of the apartment building. After some research, he discovered that it was built on an old cemetery.
I don't like that one at all. That's really creepy. I love it, but I hate it. Why does she have a Bible?
I don't
like.
know.
What was her plan?
She's just staring at them.
Do you think she was buried with her Bible? Do you think she because people get buried with a Bible? I think sometimes,
especially in the old Victorian times. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, she was like judging so hard.
Yeah, a model. They're all about vanity and appearance and everything. That sin. It is a mortal sin. She was coming to collect their souls. Great story. Very creepy. Not a fan. Don't ever want that to happen to me.
Thanks to Melissa for sharing that one too. I got the real creeps.
Dude, it's not good juju to build something on top of a cemetery. Never. Like, why are people like, this is going to be fine? No big deal. I'm sure it's fine. I guess we just run out of land. No, thank you.
All right. What do you have for me today? I'm excited.
This one I might go first because it's a little heavier. It does talk about like the death of a child. So I guess be aware. And this, though, comes from an old-timey newspaper, the Seattle Star, dated November 17th, 1938, wow. I think is what it says, because it's a little blurry. So wish me luck. Grieving Kept Child Earthbound is the title of this one. So this is an editor from the Star who says the following occurred in my family several years ago in a town far from Seattle. At the time I speak of, one of my sister's children, a beautiful young woman, 16 years old, was burned to death by a gasoline explosion in the home. She was literally enveloped in flames, all the clothing being burned from her body. She lived only 24 hours. Her mother was the only witness to the tragedy, and naturally, it almost unsettled her reason. For months afterwards, she would walk the floor day and night when not under the influence of opiates, calling her daughter by name and begging her to come back and speak to her mother. As there were several other children in the family, also the father and grandmother, the father's mother, they were in a dreadful state of mind. One day, when I and grandmother were sitting together discussing these things, grandmother said, I do wish Mary, my sister, could be made to realize just how she is making Isabel, the one who died, suffer by the way she is carrying on. Then she related the following. You know, of course, that I lost my only daughter when she was 11 years old. She took sick and died very suddenly. I almost went insane and carried on just as Mary is doing. Day and night I walked the floor, calling her by name, begging her to come to mother. One night, or morning rather, about 1 o'clock, I awakened from an uncomfortable sleep and was immediately aware of a strong light in the room. At first, it seemed to be like a strong electric light. I sat right up in bed as the light seemed to move to the foot of the bed. Then it seemed to take the shape of a bright star, and as I gazed, too bewildered to really be afraid, the form of my child stood there in her nightdress with her hair down her back, arms outstretched. and a most pleading expression upon her face. While I know now that no sound was made, I do know that she spoke. She begged me to let her go. "Oh, mother," she said, "please let me go. You are making me so unhappy by grieving the way you do. You hold me here constantly, weeping and calling me to come to you. I am not dead, mother, but I want to go on. Please let me go." Then the light faded and she was gone. But from that moment, I stopped grieving. I have never wished her back again. I only pray for her happiness and thank God that he let me have her for 11 years. And that was signed Mrs. R.N.
That's so interesting. The idea of grieving and missing your loved one holds them to like here in the ghostly form or the spiritual form or whatever. That's really interesting.
Like you're inadvertently like keeping them in purgatory almost.
Yes.
Like they cannot move on. What's with the end of the bed? Have we ever discussed this? Why? Why? Like,
I don't know.
Do they just wake up, standing, staring at you sleeping? Like,
I guess because it's like you'll be more visible there than, I mean,
yeah. What
we
if you're
haven't
a side
talked
sleeper?
about it a whole lot. Oh yeah, what if you're a side sleeper? When I was visited by one of my ghostly apparitions, they were sitting next to my bed, but the only reason why I saw that they were staring at me is because I looked at their reflection in my mirror at the end of the bed. So maybe it's a visibility thing of like,
oh, they were sitting next to you. I guess I don't remember exactly. They were sitting next to you. I guess if they were standing next to you and you open your eyes, you just get a crotch shot. Ghost crotch to the face. So as I discuss this and say it out loud, it does make more sense. The end of the bed, a little more modest, especially for those
a little
Victorian,
less crotchy.
Yeah. Bible thumper types. So I don't know. I hope that wasn't too dark, but it had a little bit of an uplifting end just to try to help.
I love those old timey ghost stories.
Yeah, I really do. It's not a lot has changed, actually. You know, like really a lot of it is very similar. So, yeah, thank you, Mrs. RN, for writing in 100 years ago. That was helpful. Thank you.
All right, I have another story. Okay. I do. This one is from Alice. She says, "My first experience meeting a ghost was when I was 9 or 10. I was struggling to sleep because it was a cold night and I couldn't get warm. I happened to look over at the bed that my two sisters shared, and there, standing over them, was a curly-haired boy stroking my sister's face." Oh my God.
Okay, that's the alternative. Go to the end of the bed. Step back.
I lay there and just watched him. Then he turned to me, smiled, and put his finger to his mouth, shushing me. I wasn't frightened. He wasn't hurting her, just calming her, I think. Anyway, I heard a door open from my brother's room, and the boy quickly turned and walked out of the room. I was sure he would have met my brother on the stairs, but nothing happened. My brother walked right past to go downstairs. The next day, I had to go to my great-aunt's place. It was my turn that weekend to do her shopping. I arrived, and she had been sorting the grocery list. I was standing next to her when I noticed one of her photos. I picked it up, and there he was, the boy with the curly hair. I asked her who he was, and she said it was her nephew, but sadly he had died when he was very young. And that's when I realized that I'd met my first ghost.
Okay, so it'd be this great aunt's nephew is, okay, an uncle. So
regardless, can I just say that would freak me the fuck out? Stroking your sister's face and then staring while giving you the shush finger. Shh.
I 100% thought you said he was going to pick his nose and get some boogies out of there.
Oh, good one.
Boogers.
Ba-dunk-a-dunk.
Oh, good God. All right.
We have some themes going on. We've
And
got
we do.
we've got young girls. We've got creepy ghosts at bed side.
Heck yeah. Inadvertently. This is all a coincidence. So
Yes.
that's very meta as
Unplanned.
well, because that's what we talk about. Shit. There was something else I was going to say about that. Oh, the finger to the mouth, the shh. Immediately I'm going to wait for a jump scare. That would not reassure me in the least. I would then assume that his face would turn to skeleton-y monster and he would rush at me immediately.
Staring at her while he gives the shush finger, like
eye contact. Like it's not one of those passive ghosts. He is aware of what is happening. It's not like a memory ghost. He's actively engaged and interacting with you. No.
I mean, they say that your spirit guides or guardian angels or whatever can be past family members, but don't stroke my face. Like, if you're a relative coming back to don't stroke my face, please. No,
so
thanks.
Cute. So
you can
cute.
Be in the
How
shadows.
old was he when he died? Did we cover
it
this?
Didn't say, just a young boy.
Just a young boy. Okay, well, great. Horrifying story. Thanks again for the nightmare fuel, Brett. Once again.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I am now going to tell you about my high strangeness story. So my next story is titled The Ghost Family, and this is from Owl Carter. And I assumed he was a he, but now I didn't ask. I don't know. They say, about 3 years ago, I worked at a pizzeria where I carried out varied tasks depending on the needs. This evening, I was in charge of deliveries. A couple and their 2 children, who are regular customers, ordered by phone and came to pick up their order at the restaurant. Usually, they opted for delivery, but this wasn't the first time they had come to pick up. As they left, I walked past them. A few minutes later, we realized that they were missing an item. We tried calling them, but there was no answer. As they were loyal customers and I had a delivery nearby their address, I decided to drop off the missing item myself. However, when I arrived at their building, something seemed off. They lived on the ground floor of a small building, and their yard was usually filled with children's toys, but that day it was empty. I rang the intercom, and through the glass door of the building, I saw an elderly woman opening the door of the flat and coming to me. She told me she had lived there for years and there was no family living there. Confused, I went back to my car and video called my colleague to make sure I wasn't going crazy. She became puzzled as I had just been and confirmed that I was at the correct address. This would have been surprising otherwise, as I had delivered to them several times before and was very familiar with the neighborhood. I tried calling the customers again, but still no answer. Eventually, I had to move on as I was running out of time. About 2 weeks later, they reordered as if nothing had happened. I made the delivery and everything seemed back to normal. Of course, I told them about the strange events. They were just as confused as I was and had no explanation, since they, of course, didn't move and no elderly woman lived with them. Moreover, they were certain that they had gone straight home after picking up their order. Since these events, we referred to them as the Ghost Family.
Whoa. That is some crazy glitch in the Matrix.
I love it. Is it time travel? Did he walk through another, back into the past where he has his cell phone or something?
Is it time travel? Is it another dimension? Is it a ghost lady, an old ghosty lady who was maybe the family hadn't made it back to the flat yet and she was ghosty and she was like, I've lived here forever.
Oh, she's a wall lady. She lives in the walls and came down to answer the door for the pizza.
Oh, yeah. You don't usually picture old ladies living in the walls, but you never know. It could happen.
Who quickly cleans up all the toys in the yard.
Oh, God.
Climbs out of the wall.
You know what?
To just fuck with
Any
this
old lady
boy.
can come live in my wall if she wants to clean the house and cook for us.
You know what? You got that right. No, actually, I take that back. No, thank you. I'm good. I will take a messy house over an old lady who lives in my walls.
But as long as she's quiet and doesn't thump around too much and she's just pretends that we can't like hear her, know she's there. And then like while we're sleeping, she's just like banging pots and pans as she's like cooking us breakfast. Yeah. I'd be fine.
Comes and strokes your face as you're sleeping. Stands at the end of your bed.
Okay, change my mind. No.
Okay, yeah. No, thank you.
Delete.
It's one of those unexplained things. I think there's just a little glitch in the game. The simulation had a little bit of a glitch, a little hiccup. Someone got fired over that one. But yeah, so thanks, Owl Creator.
Well done. Okay, I have one more. Is that okay? Can you handle one more,
that's okay.
Alissa?
Yes.
All right. This was sent by Deborah. I don't remember what year this happened. I believe I was between 10 and 12. Another young girl. Just saying. My mom, my brother, and sister and I were house sitting for my grandparents, and I was sleeping in my grandmother's bed. She always had clothes piled up on the bed, and there was just enough room to lie down and sleep. I know this was in the early 80s, and I had a boombox that I would listen to while sleeping. I had put the radio sitting upright close to me. At some point during the night, something woke me up, and I was absolutely terrified. Of what? I didn't know. And then literally, the next second, and when I say literally, I mean this happened so fast, I didn't have time to process anything. All of a sudden, I was extremely calm, and I said to myself, I don't know why I'm so scared. General Burke and his wife's presence are here. As I was laying back down to sleep, I noticed that my radio was now laying down on a pillow beside me, and the covers were pulled up to cover me and the radio. The next morning, I told my mother about it, and she'd never heard that name before. She'd lived in the house since she was a kid and decided to get the paperwork to the house. She looked all the way back to the very first owner of the house. Any guesses who it might be?
General Bergstein.
The Burke family. No one has ever been able to explain it, and my parents didn't even know that name. I'm 52 now, and it's an experience I'll never be able to forget.
I love that. That's great. I think they probably were talking to her through the radio, right? Like,
perhaps
whispering the history. Or
they're like, lay down, stroke the cheek. I'll cover you up, and this radio too. Cover up.
Well, no. I mean, it is a boom box. A boom box. Oh, good God. I hate myself.
Man,
today.
I'm rubbing off on you. That's good. I love it.
I really, because I feel like I am the pun queen.
You are.
So who's rubbing off on who? You're just setting me up.
Maybe
it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm just setting you up for success.
I also love the idea of just like a ghost jamming out to some sick beats on that boombox. He's like, hell yeah. But why is it in bed with her? That is a little disturbing. The name. Knowing stuff that you're not supposed to know and shouldn't know and can't know. Those are some of the most fascinating stories
then it's just
to me.
In her brain, General Burke and his wife's presence are here. Like, what? That's so bizarre for
that
like a 10-year-old.
So strange. They are here. And she didn't see anything though?
No. She just realized as she's laying back down that the covers were pulled up over her and the boombox.
There's a book that I read as a kid called Charlotte Sometimes, and it is a story about a little girl who kind of time travels. She goes to sleep and she wakes up in the past, and then she comes back to the future. And that reminds me of this. Like maybe that little girl, she fell asleep. She woke up for a minute in the past, came back to the future. It would be cool. Maybe that's where we go when we sleep. We time travel. I want more stories like that. I like these ones where children, people know things that they shouldn't know. Then Google confirms these things.
And then a grown-up confirms how do you know this information? How do you know that the apartment was on a cemetery, that General Burke lived in this house, that
the nephew died, the grandbaby nephew, great aunt nephew. Do you think that this was a haunting, or do you think it was a past life sort of thing?
I think it felt haunting to me. Like General Burke and his wife were still in the house.
But did she hear that spoken? It went in her head. That's what she thought.
Yeah, it was like she woke up terrified, utterly like freaking out. And then the next instant, completely calm. Oh, General Burke is here. Everything's okay.
That's weird. Maybe she's reliving an experience of someone else who slept in that room at some point and experienced that, like a terror. Somebody is breaking in, and then the calm of knowing, oh, it's just General Burke and his wife.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a living deja vu. Oh, I like that one. That one's very good too. All of these were
This is
very
fun.
similar.
This is a good day. Good stories.
Nice
well
and
done,
quick.
Alyssa.
Thanks, Britt. You too. We have places to be today, so it's a little bit of a short one, but
It's true. And that's okay, because y'all got places to be too.
Heck yeah. And we'll be back next week.
If
more.
you have sleepover stories, glitch in the matrix stories, what was the other one? Oh, little children knowing things.
Yeah, like past life memories.
If you've heard these secondhand, had them happen firsthand, we want to hear it. We have an Hotbox email you can write in.
It's SkeleTalesPodcast@gmail.com. You can also call us on the hotline.
302-689-DEAD. 302-689-3323. We are also on all of the socials, SkeleTales Podcast. You can message us over there as well.
Patreon.
Patreon. Yes, we are needing supporters to keep the show going. And we have some awesome hot content. We have bonus stories over there, episodes you can't get anywhere else. That is at SkeleTales Podcast at Patreon. Don't quote me. Just Google it.
Yeah, you'll find it there. Also, Britt is the queen of creepy curation, and she has got all the stuff in the podcast shop. And on Etsy, you can get this creepy clown with a mosquito crawling in its ear. What the hell is that?
I don't even know.
It is the weirdest
it's so
shit.
Terrifying. Honestly, even if you just go over there to look at the creepy shit, it's pretty fun. That's SkeleTalesPodcast.etsy.com over there.
Okay.
What else, Alyssa?
Haunt you later.
Boo. Haunt you
Damn it.
later. Good night.
Good night.